You don't need to read it. Yeah. The rabbi purpose it relative to every word that you say in there. If you want to read the part and answer Russian.
All righty.
It's legit. That's legit thinking. They're already made up their mind about something. We're here. Good correction.
All right. Hayim v'libracha. To life and to blessings. We're at a very special time of year, a time of life and blessings. We are in the 10 days of penitence, 10 days of getting closer to God as the luminary is close to the spark of our soul. And it's a time for us to become closer, to become more attached to God Almighty. From Rosh Hashanah until Yom Kippur, to increase in the bond. And that is the idea of tshuva, penitence. Penitence on the lowest level is from our actions that we need to work on to make sure that our actions are appropriate, to remove ourselves from the negative, regret for the negative, and commitment to doing what God needs from us. That is the one form of tshuva. And the higher level is to recognize that we are truly a reflection of God, and to make that as our true identity and to live with that. When we live with that, we change the world for good. Change our world for good. And of course, Tanya helps us with that we can come to that. Welcome to Tanya today. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad Zuch and Kadesh in Montreal, Canada, where it's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. We are in the 20th letter from the Alter Rebbe, a very profound, deep teachings that the Alter Rebbe wrote a few days before his passing. And it is something to give us an appreciation of how precious the physical world is, which is counterintuitive. The physical world is covering up on the presence of God, on the truth. The spiritual world is, angels and the souls in Gan Eden, they're much more aware of divine presence than we are here. But that's not what God wants. And that's not where he is found. It is here. But in what fashion? So till now, what we've understood, the fashion is because God wants to be here, the purpose is here, so therefore the presence of God is here. And therefore doing a mitzvah, what do? Reveal that presence of God.
Okay.
So the physical act of the mitzvah is bringing the presence of God in the physical reality of this world. That's what we learned till now in chapter 35 of Tanya, the first part of Tanya. But now the Alter Rebbe takes it further. Know that actually the physical world is coming from not what we call ilav olol, cause and effect form of creative process, but yesh miyayin, ex nihilo, something from nothing. Now, what does it mean, something from nothing? Better, something from no thing, right? From no thing. Now, what's the difference between the two? What's the difference in cause and effect and something from nothing?
Present, something from nothing. Every time, all time.
Well, both if God is the cause, so then, from both perspective, what is the reality of creation? From God's perspective, what's the reality of creation? There's no creation. All there is it's all a part of Him. It's not that there's God and then there's me and you. From God's perspective, no, 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 no. There's no me and you. We're a ray of light within the sun. We're completely nullified to Him. We're a part of Him. We're not separate from Him. Right? That's God's perspective. Right? Now, what's our perspective?
Separate.
We're separate. Right? Now, we're learning that that's not the truth, but that's not our perspective. That's not how we feel. Right? We feel, I am. Right? I feel I am. Why do we feel that way when it's not the truth? So, if God were to create the world as He actually creates this physical world, as opposed to the spiritual worlds, right? If He were to create as the spiritual worlds, cause and effect. Cause and effect means, let me explain. I'm speaking right now. The only reason I can speak what I'm speaking is I'm thinking what I'm thinking. Right? I have the thoughts in my head that cause my words. My words are aware, I'm aware in my words of where the source of my thinking, my words are, my thoughts. Likewise, my feelings, right? My feelings. I have feelings towards, coffee, David's coffee. Okay. L'chaim, l'chaim, l'chaim. Right? You have feelings towards Tanya. Why? What causes it? Because you have an appreciation, understanding. You understand how good Tanya is, so therefore that gives you a feeling, right? So where's the feeling? The feeling is aware of the mind and the mind's perspective, right? That's called cause and effect. Or simply, if I got pushed by somebody, I know that what got pushed me to the side is someone that gave me a push. I'm aware of that. I'm cognizant of the source of what caused the cause, right? They're kind of linked, right? As a matter of fact, if someone pushed me, I can push the other guy back. The fact that I was caused, I could cause it back. There's not much of a difference between the cause and the effect, because you could just invert it and it could be the other way too, right? So when God creates the spiritual realm, cause and effect, guess what? Angels, souls, they're aware of their what?
Yes.
Their cause, which is the creator. They're aware because they're linked, right? So if God were to create this world, the physical world, and us in the physical, not our soul, right? There's a part of God, but our being in the physical reality, right? Soul in a body in a physical reality over here. And it was cause and effect, then I would be aware of my cause. I'd be aware of God instinctually, right? That's what would happen. But God therefore does not create the world that way. He doesn't create the world that way. He creates it something from nothing. And that's something that only God can do. Cause and effect, we have the capability of doing cause and effect ourselves, right? That's our whole world is cause and effect, right? Everything therefore becomes a means to an end as cause and is the effect, right? So everything we think about, what will be the effect of this? What comes out of this? It's human. It's normal. That's our world. But God is not limited to that. He creates something from no thing. Now, what does it mean something from nothing? I mean, it's not nothing, it's from God. But why do we call it nothing? Because I have no experience in it and I have no apprehension, awareness of it. That's what it is. That part where it's coming in God as He is not as creator, we have no understanding of that. We have no experience of that, right? We only know of creation. So we know, right? So therefore we say it's nothing, no thing, and no experience, no apprehension of it, right? That's where it's coming from. And therefore, since I have no apprehension of it, what's going to be the result? I don't recognize my source. I don't recognize my cause. I just feel me. And therefore I become an end in myself as a result of that. And of course, what will I naturally be? Very self-serving, right? Which is normal, makes sense. That's the human condition. God created that, right? That's how he created this world, which makes perfect sense that we should be that way. And that's why everybody is that way until you learn Tanya, right? And Tanya gives you the truth that we are not to be that way, even though that's the natural state of the human condition of the creation of this world. That it's something from nothing. Because in truth, right, but truth is God, and the truth of God is that we are really, as from his perspective, there's nothing, he didn't create and now there's something aside from him, outside of him, independent of him. No, but he does it in such a way that we should be that. We should sense that. Hmm? It's not an illusion because God did it that way, so it's not an illusion, right? That's not an illusion. The illusion is that's all it is, right? The illusion would be, or the mistake would be, is that that's all it is what I perceive and what I feel, and that would be the illusion, to think that that's all that there is. But is that a reality? Yeah, because God created it that way, right? That we should sin, right? Is that clear? Now, briefly, I'm going to go into some Hasidic geography, which is going to be a little challenging. To understand this, I gave you the concept of it, right? But what does that mean in terms of actual geography? There's a geography here, right? We're talking about mapping out creation. So there's a geography over here. So this comes from the 10 divine attributes of God, right? Spheres, as they're called, right? And as they come into the world of Bria, Yitzir, and Asiya, which are the worlds of creation, right? Bria, the highest world, Yitzira, formation, Asiya, the world of action, and all that is spiritual worlds. And then finally, this physical world, right? Those are the three worlds. And it comes down. So in a sphera, in a divine attribute of God, right? Chabad, Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, Malchus, right? The 10 different attributes of God. They have those 10 attributes, as we learned earlier, they're the power of God that are vested in them, the infinite of God, because it's only in the power of God that you could create something from nothing. We don't have that power. Nothing has that power, right? You can't create the opposite of you, but God could, right? God could create something that has a sense that is the opposite of him, that is independent of him. Only God could do that, right? We can do only cause and effect. Cause and effect means that there will, right? That's all we can do. So everything is linked. So, but God vests that power of his Ein Sof into the 10 divine attributes. In the 10 divine attributes, there's two components. Just like body and soul, right? Everything has body and soul in this world. So in spiritual terms, we call it light and vessel. This is a vessel, a container, right? A container has parameters to it. It gives definition, right? Boundaries, and therefore definition. But light, God's light, boundless, right? So, but the two come together as one, right? So you have the light of Chesed, and you have the keli, the vessel of Chesed, right? Now, in vessel, just to confuse you more, look at this vessel. There's 3 dimensions to it: the outside, the inside, and the middle. So there's like 30 components to one vessel, meaning the vessel of kindness, there's 30 dimensions to it. Because you'll have Chesed that has together with Bina. Or you'll have Chesed that's together with Gvura, let's say, right? Chesed and Gvura coming together, right? So you'll have the outside of the Gvura, you'll have the inside of the Gvura, and you'll have the middle side of it. What that means is just a different angle of the same attribute, right? I hope you're following. Huh?
It's like combination.
Yeah. Right. And where's the combinations come? It's from the vessels itself, not from the light. Why? Because light is boundless. It doesn't have parameters, right? This has a parameter. And in the parameter, it has parameter. Outside, inside, middle, right? Got it? You following? That's amazing if you're following this. Amazing. You're all amazing. So now, just to complicate it further, there's 3 dimensions. There's 3 dimensions to the light into the vessel, to light also, right? So there's nefesh, ruach, neshama, like soul, right? The soul aspect. There's nefesh. There's 3 dimensions to the soul, the way it's within the body. So the light also has 3 dimensions to it: nefesh, ruach, neshama. And the neshama part is consistently, as it comes down, these divine attributes, and now creates within the world of Bria, Yitzhak, and Asiya. It's already in creation. It's already creating something that's independent. The divine element of it is only the divine, that means totally connected and not separate in any way of this divine attribute as it comes down into the 3 worlds, right? The only element that remains divine is the nefesh level, neshama level of the light. Okay? The neshama level is infinite and divine. It doesn't lose its quality as it comes down to create, right? It remains connected to the Ein Sof. But the other parts of the light, and most definitely the complete vessel, because vessel is a delimiter, is a limited, right? It's all becomes now part of the active part of creating and part of creation, right? And therefore not divine. The only element that's left that's divine is the light of the attribute, God's attribute, right? But it's coming down now into the creative, into creation. And creation by definition means what? Independence, separate. That's what the definition of creation is. The divine attributes, the way they're in the world of Atzilus, which is the world of emanation, it's not a creation. It's the emanation of God, right? It's not God, it's godliness. It's like you, and what emanates around you is like your aura. Is it you? Well, it's your aura. So like an extension of you, right? It's not what you do, it's your aura. Right? What God is doing in creation, the divine attributes of God in creation already become part of the the creative process. And therefore they're the source of creation within creation, and they have now independence, if you will, but not the neshama of the light of that divine attribute, which is, where is it all sourced in, the divine attributes? Where do they, in the world of emanation? God emanated, like before the world of emanation, there weren't attributes of God. Why would there be kindness of God? To whom is God kind? Only when he is beginning to, so to speak, develop the world, to create the world, is there a need for kindness, right? Now, the truth is the kindness was there in a very ethereal, before that, before Atzilus, but not in any concrete way. In Atzilus, there's 10 divine attributes that have a vessel and have a and have a light. In that world, the vessel, all three dimensions, the light, all of it is divine. But now that it's going to come down and create independence, so there's an element of that divine attribute that is as also part of creation, that, right? But it maintains the divinity and therefore the power to create, because if it's kept disconnected from its source, then it couldn't have the power. Only God has the power to create. So through that, it comes down into Bria, Yitzhak, and Asiya, and becomes the source of creation and everything in that world. If you got that, you're amazing. And if you didn't get it, you're still amazing, and you just have to come back to learn more. Bria, right, which means creation, right? Yitzira, which comes for the word formation, the world of formation, and Asiya, which comes for to do, the world of action. So there's a spiritual world of action and then the physical world of action, right? There's also Asiya. It's the counterpart to the spiritual world of Asiya, which is the lowest spiritual world. Got it? Got that? That what we just had a geography lesson. A Hasidic geography lesson. So when you go back to school and you're learning geography, you could, share this. Yeah. Any questions?
Before creation, God could only demonstrate or manifest kindness to himself.
That's not called kindness.
Or
by definition, that's not kindness.
Yeah. Okay, so love or
love himself.
Yeah, because love.
No, you're thinking it. You're think. That's why we say no think. God before creation. Well, God was love before creation. He was. It was love. There was no creation. Now, love is only because it's an object of the love. There's a thing to love. Right?
Can we go inside that silhouette? Can we see?
Can we see?
Like
the holiest righteous people, their souls come from Atzilus. The truth is, all souls, all Jewish souls, come from there, but they devolve. So most of our souls devolve, and they go through all the worlds and pick up the stuff in that world that brings sense of selfhood, independence, right? And we get mired, if you will, with stuff from that world, and then we become souls in a body here. Then there's particular souls that they come from Atzilus, like all souls come from there, but they journey through, but they didn't make a pit stop. They didn't stay at Motel 6 and then have next door neighbor that was a drug addict and he was, using his drugs next door, and that was an effect, and you had trauma from that, and you came, that soul didn't go to Motel 6 in the world of Bria Yitzhak and Asiya and have any pick up any stuff over there. It went through there, but didn't stay in Motel 6 and just came down into this world as a direct connection to the divine.
Didn't mention drug.
I gave that as a metaphor. No, that was a metaphor. No, you didn't catch it then when I just meant. I gave it as a metaphor, right? Obviously,
then it's-
there's not a Motel 6 up there either, right? That's a metaphor to understand that our souls come down and already are tainted. They're tainted because when you come down, the more you come down, the less the light is and the darker there is in those worlds. There's klipa, and we picked up that klipa, right? So we come down over here, we're a lesser soul. Doesn't mean we're less valuable, because we still come from the same place. But in the migration to come down into a body, we picked up stuff. And therefore, which means our purpose down here will be different. Only means, doesn't mean our soul isn't a part of God. It just means our purpose will be here different, right? Down here, I'm going to be the truck driver of Judaism, right? The foot soldier, right? I'm not going to have such a brain. I'm not going to have such a heart. If you had a brain, your soul came from Bria. If you had a heart, your whole soul came from Yetzirah. You had feet, right? So we're in the generation, just do it. Or just do it. Just do what you got to do. You don't feel like it? That's a foot soldier, right? We're not like in the generation of the men of the Mishnah, Rabbi Akiva, Shimon Bar Yochai. There was men of their souls came from Bria. They were lofty souls, right? And therefore, they were just, everything about them was, divine teachings, right? We're not men of the heart that are, that we feel the palpable love of God. No, we're not, and it's not a strike against us. It's because our purpose is a different purpose. We have a different purpose here. We have to go into. We have to be able to go into. Lofty soul is not going into a dirty place. But we can go there, bring back a soul. Because our generation is, we have to go into the worst places, like a university, like especially today, right? And bring back a Jewish soul. Who could do that? Foot soldier, right? The lofty soul is they're beyond that, right? That student will have to come to them. What student's coming? You go to the student. You have a Chabad house on every campus, and you have the Chabad rabbi on every campus there, bringing Yiddishkeit on the campus itself, in the most despicable campuses today, most despicable places, intellectually, emotionally, every aspect, right? And there you got to bring back the souls, just as a metaphor again. Is it clear what I'm explaining? Yeah. Is there klipa in Yetzirah and Bria? Absolutely. But the klipa and Bria, klipa, the shell that's covering over the divine, is so ephemeral, is so little that, souls that come from there are much more connected. Righteous souls also come from Bria, right? Because the klipa is so minimal. Yetzirah, their godliness is more than klipa. Yetzirah, it's like 50-50. Asiya, spiritual, 20-80. This world, percent maybe, right? Is that clear? Make sense?
There are more souls that are migrating here today on like being born, coming from a lower place and
They all come from, all Jewish souls come from the same source. The question is about the migration.
well, why is it lesser today than, let's say, 2,000-3,000 years ago?
Because because we have to do the final job to bring Mashiach. So the foot soldiers are ones have to go to bring it to every corner of the world. If you're in the times of the Holy Temple, or close to the times of the Holy Temple, and you were there in that holiness, so where do you go? Only to where the holiness is. You stay there, right? You don't spread it to the world. The world comes to the holiness, right? So therefore, you're on a holier level, and you inspire the world to come to you. But that's not the ultimate purpose. The ultimate purpose is to bring the holiness to every nook and cranny, every corner of the world. And therefore, there's a Chabad house in every nook and cranny of the world to bring the message of Hashem to every corner, every spot of the world. So, right? And that spot is much darker than in Israel, period. Holy temple, even more so, right? Even more so. So there is going to be a loftier soul. We're lower souls because that gives us, if we were so sensitive, it'd be difficult to go into a dark place. It would be difficult. We're not such sensitive souls, so therefore we can go into a dark place because that's ultimately what we have to do in the dark place to bring the light of God. That's a metaphor I'm giving of university because I think it's probably one of the darkest places today.
Okay,
Yeah,
where you were.
yeah. Does that make sense? Extremely powerful. Folks, if you got this, you're amazing. And if you didn't get it, well, next year we'll be back. But actually, the truth is, we're going to continue with this idea and more of the geography in the coming days. All right, Rambam coming up. Thank you, folks. Don't forget tonight, we have a special Yom Kippur symposium starting 6:30, going through 9:30 to prepare for Yom Kippur. Join us from 6:30 to 9:30 tonight.